Hello there, welcome back to the channel. Now, today I'm going to be dropping back into the Andromeda universe, mostly because I've been watching it recently and remembering how much I love the starship designs from that show. Give us a like if you love those starship designs, because they were very elegant, very graceful, very beautiful ships. And going to be looking at specifically today the Wrath of Achilles. The Wrath of Achilles being a Siege Perilous class battle cruiser of the old systems Commonwealth and new systems Commonwealth. The Achilles itself was one of the most powerful vessels ever built by the old systems Commonwealth, and what I learned, this ship smaller than the Andromeda. Did not know that. I actually thought that the way they were always portrayed on screen, being so epically powerful, indicated that the Siege Perilous class was a bigger, more heavily armed ship than the Glorious Heritage class. But hey, learn something new. It's smaller at 666 meters, pretty much half the size of the Andromeda. And that surprised me. Let's get into discussing this magnificent vessel. Before we get started though, like, share, subscribe, comment down below, hit the bell notification icon if you want to be kept up to date. I will be covering the other vessels of this class that were seen in the show, which include the Resolution of Hector and the Balance of Judgment. But before I get to them, as I said, we're at the Wrath of Achilles. Of course, this vessel, similar to the Resolution of Hector, are named after the classical figures from the Iliad, referencing the Trojan War. We've got Achilles on one side and Hector on the other, although in this universe they were both fighting on the same side, but were both historically great warriors, represented actually by the same ship's avatar, played by the delightful Christopher Judge, mostly well known amongst sci-fi communities for his portrayal of Teal'c, the Jafar leader and warrior of the Stargate SG-1 series. But in this universe, he is the Wrath of Achilles. The Achilles himself was a huge, heavily armed, powerful Highguard vessel commissioned in the latter days of the war against the Nietzscheans, in the closing stages of it. Not built in time to have any meaningful impact on the war, he was quickly overwhelmed and defeated by the onslaught of Nietzschean vessels, and was ultimately captured and fell into the hands of the Drago-Katsov Pride, along with multiple other vessels, and was put sort of arrest in the Tartarus system with no slipstream. The Tartarus system is basically hell for starships. There's no natural resources there for them to farm to build weapons, munitions, or rebuild their hyperdrives, their slipstream cores. Sorry, wrong franchise, thinking about Stargate there, I apologize. The slipstream drive. For all the people that are already started typing, yes, I made a mistake there. No, I'm not re-recording it, because screw that. Now, they were all locked up here for 300 years. Now, the Achilles put up one hell of a fight that he still bore the scars of 3 centuries later, because the Nietzscheans hadn't bothered to basically fix them. But the Nietzscheans hadn't figured out how to remove the ship's AI as of yet. As a result, Achilles was still intact, him and his avatar. Now, they would eventually figure out how to do this, and we'll come back to that in just a moment. Now, many years earlier, the Achilles and other ships in the fleet had got together and managed to cobble together a single functional slipstream drive. Now, AI are not capable of really navigating slipstream very well, so they put a slipstream into one of the ships called the Clarion's Call. This was a Lancer transport vessel, and it spent years, 100 years, flying around the slipstream trying to figure out how to get out. Eventually it did. The plan was, masterminded by the Achilles and the others, to contact the more moderate Nietzschean prides, offer them their assistance in defeating the Drago-Katsov, and basically play their enemies against one another. They weren't stupid. They knew the war was over, the Commonwealth had lost, but the cause to them was not over. Unfortunately, the Clarion's Call would fail in this mission for various reasons, and the ships would remain stranded here. Fast forward to the years after Captain Hunt and the Andromeda's re-emergence from the event horizon of a black hole, they would discover the existence of these ships and try to reclaim them for the Commonwealth. The Achilles had become something of the de facto leader, being the biggest, meanest, most powerful ship on the block, despite, again, apparently being smaller than a Glorious Heritage class, and that simply hurts my head. It just doesn't make sense. But apparently smaller. But in my headcanon, it will forever be bigger, and I don't care. That's a hill I just built and I'm dying on it. My hill is bigger, and I'm staying there. I'm dying on that hill. This is a bigger ship. Screw the cannon. Sorry, maybe not screw the cannon, but you know what I mean. This has to be a bigger ship. It's meant to be more powerful. Anyway, I'm getting off target. Okay. So, they go into the system and they try to recover it. But the sort of POWs in the camp, they've developed a sort of culture all of their own. They want more representation, they want more freedom, and they won't rejoin the Commonwealth and help unless they get it. Ultimately, the Nietzscheans develop the AI racer, and they come to destroy the AIs on the ship so they can claim them, and this would give the Dragokatsov some vessels that were basically far more powerful and advanced than anything else that they had, and without the AIs in the way stopping them from using them, they'd be able to use these incredibly advanced and powerful warships to lay waste to all of their enemies, other Nietzscheans and other races, and basically unify the Nietzscheans back into a single empire and probably doom the galaxy to centuries of darkness. No one wants that to happen, so they try to recover the ships. They don't want to go. They got there with the help of the Clarion's Call that they now found and its avatar Ryan. They went aboard the Achilles as it was the de facto leader. They tried to defend it against the Nietzschean incursion, but the Nietzscheans, because none of the ships had weapons or defensive capabilities, were not truly able to fight off the Nietzscheans. The Nietzscheans were able to install the AI racer, which would eventually destroy the AI control systems of the Wrath of Achilles. Ryan would upload himself into the mainframe and become the new avatar of the Achilles. Although they were going to want to rename the ship the Clarion's Call, Ryan chose against it, saying that this ship was meant to be called the Achilles and he would continue to have that name. He would go on to serve the system's Commonwealth after this, after being rescued from the Tartarus system, and get himself a nice crew, participate in multiple battles against the Nietzscheans, the Magog and others, but eventually the ship would be destroyed a few years later at the Battle of Engus Redoubt, the homeworld of the Dragokatsov Pride, as well as a bulk of the High Guard fleet at the time. A great loss to the restored system's Commonwealth, a loyal and powerful warship. Out of universe, because that's its basic story within, this epically cool vessel, of course, it has design elements that are reminiscent of those of the Andromeda, but is meant to look a little more pointy and more aggressive because it's meant to be a more pure warship, and the Andromeda is a pure enough warship, but this thing's meant to be just a killer of a starship. Out of universe, again, the Avatar was played by Christopher Judge. Christopher Judge, famous for being in Stargate. One of the other avatars of the ships would be played by Michael Shanks, which is something we're going to explore in the other two videos in covering this class of ship that we're going to come up with, but it's such a good story. It's so fun to see those two together but not be on the same side. Bottom line, the Wrath of Achilles is an awesome starship, a welcome addition to the High Guard fleet, and the Achilles died for the Commonwealth, sacrificed itself so that others within its camp could survive and go on to fight against the true enemies of the Commonwealth, such as the Magog, in future wars. And again, although the vessel would be destroyed, it would again, along with its new avatar Ryan, renamed the Wrath of Achilles, would eventually go out in a blaze of glory, defending the ideals of the system's Commonwealth, what it was born to do, what it was created to do, and it did this job really well. It was a ship of honor and a fighting vessel, and again, played by Christopher Judge, which was just freaking awesome, because Christopher Judge is great in everything you see him in, and he is. I don't care if it's a B movie about sharks, it's still good. I will watch it if Christopher Judge is in it. I don't care. It's another hill. I'm going to stand on it. Christopher Judge is freaking awesome. I can't help but just see Tilk every time I see him, and I think, why is he missing his forehead symbol? Where's your loyalty to Apophis, Tilk? Anyway, consistency. He doesn't have it in this universe either. I'm getting off target again. We are coming to the end of this video. If you've made it all the way to the end, past all of my ramblings and my general bull stuff, stupid YouTube algorithm, then thank you for watching. I appreciate all of you, and I appreciate people that took the time to watch this video, and appreciate that the Andromeda series was cancelled ahead of its time. It went too soon. It did deteriorate, as I've said in other videos, towards the end, but it had highlights and high spots such as episodes like this, which involved the Wrath of Achilles, and generally the entire story revolving around it was epic, and there were standout moments even in the later seasons that weren't as good as the earlier season, and this was definitely one of them. And this was certainly a character, even though it was a starship. The ships in Andromeda are as much a person as anything. Those ships were awesome, and the whole story behind it was great. And I appreciate that if you've made a lot in this, you probably think that as well. And if you do, tell me about it in the comments below. With that said, we've reached the end of this video. I thank you for watching, and bye-bye. I'd just like to say a thank you to everyone for watching that video. I hope you enjoyed it. I really enjoy making these. If you did enjoy it, please consider giving a like, share, and a subscribe, and maybe checking out the other videos on the screen right now. And in the description box below, there are links to my other social media accounts.